So we now move to the portfolio revision and rebalancing. Now the thing that we need to understand here is that when we go for a rebalancing or when we try to buy another security, whether we should buy it or not, so trade-off between alpha risk, transaction cost and time horizon. Another thing that is important is to find out the no trade region for rebalancing with transaction cost. So if the transaction costs were zero, then the manager would have been in a situation to revise his portfolio each time, but that does not happen in the case. So the manager may wish to be conservative due to uncertainties of these measures and the manager's ability to interpret them. Understanding transaction cost, for example, will lead to trading too frequently. In addition, frequent trading and short time horizon would cause alpha estimates to exhibit a great deal of uncertainty. Therefore, the manager must choose an optimal time horizon where certainty of alpha is sufficient to justify a trade given the transaction cost. The rebalancing decision depends on the trade-off between transaction cost and the value add from changing the position. And portfolio managers must be aware about the existing no trade region and where the benefits are less than the cost. The benefits of adjusting number of shares in a portfolio is given by the formula on the screen, which is marginal contribution to value added, which is alpha of an asset minus. Now if you look the first two terms in the bracket, 2 into risk aversion into active risk, that's in fact information ratio, and then we multiply that with the marginal contribution of risk. So if you do a dimensional analysis like we did for in physics, we used to do it for force, which is mass into acceleration square and so on. So both of the terms are alpha. Information ratio is again having a numerator of risk, and that gets cancelled out and we get the alpha. So both of the following are alpha. So alpha of an asset minus 2 into risk aversion into active risk. And risk aversion is a formula that we just talked about in the last session, which is information ratio upon 2 into active risk. Active risk is the risk that's added to the portfolio when the portfolio is actively managed. So the marginal contribution to value add is alpha into assets minus 2 into risk aversion into active risk into marginal contribution of the active risk asset. As long as the value is between negative cost of selling and the cost of purchase, the manager would not trade that particular asset. In other words, the no trade region is the region where marginal contribution to value add is greater than cost of selling and cost of purchasing. So you would not buy actually something if you are not contributing the margin that you add is less than the cost of repurchase or the cost of sell. So the long formula becomes 2 into risk aversion into active risk into marginal contribution of the contribution to the active risk, and again this formula in a way, active risk upon marginal contribution of the active risk into risk aversion. So everything is dealt in terms of active risk, and risk aversion is again in terms of active risk. So the right term is in complete consistency with that part. So the size of no trade region is determined by transaction cost, risk aversion, alpha, and riskiness of the asset. So that's the conclusion here. Now when we move to portfolio construction techniques, we have got 4 techniques: screen, stratification, linear programming, quadratic programming. And the goal here for each technique is high alpha, low active risk, low transaction cost. The success of manager is determined by portfolio alpha minus risk aversion into active risk minus transaction cost. So risk aversion into active risk is something like information ratio and minus transaction cost. So screens are accomplished by ranking the assets by alpha, choosing the top performing assets and grouping either equally weighted or capital based weighted portfolio. Screen can be also rebalance portfolio. Screen can be also used to rebalance portfolio. For example, manager can sort the universe of portfolios by alpha, then divide the universe into buy, hold, and sell categories based on the ranking. Purchase any asset on the buy list is not currently in the asset portfolio. Sell any stock in the portfolio that are on the sell list. So screens are easy to implement. There is a clear link between the cause, buy, hold, and the effect. This technique is robust in extreme. Estimates of alpha will not bias outcome. It enhances return by selecting high alpha assets and control risk by having sufficient number of assets for diversification. Shortcoming of screen include ignoring information within the ranking, the fact that there will be errors in the ranking, and excluding those category the assets that tend to have low alphas. Now in the stratification, it builds on the screens by ensuring that each category or stratum of assets is represented in the portfolio. The manager can choose to categorize asset by economic sectors or by capitalization. If there are 5 categories and 3 capitalization level, there will be 15 mutually exclusive categories. The manager would employ a screen on each category to choose asset. The manager could then weight the asset from one category based on corresponding weights in the benchmark. Stratification has the same benefits as screening and one fewer shortcoming in that it has solved the problem of possible exclusion of some categories of assets. So again one more layer, so it adds more categories and more layers. Then we move to linear programming, which uses a type of stratification based on characteristics such as industry, size, volatility, beta, making the categories mutually exclusive. The linear programming will choose the asset that produce portfolio which closely resembles the benchmark portfolio. This technique also includes transaction costs, reduce turnover, and set position limit. Linear programming strength is that the objective is to create portfolio that closely resembles the benchmark. And final is the portfolio programming, quadratic programming for portfolio construction. So quadratic programming explicitly considers alpha risk transaction cost. Like linear programming, it can also incorporate constraints, therefore it is considered as an ultimate approach in portfolio construction. This approach is only good as its data. However, there are many opportunities to make mistake. Although small mistake could lead to a large deviation from the optimal portfolio, this is not necessarily the case since small mistakes can lead to cancel out in the overall portfolio. And they have a formula for loss function that provides a measure that illustrates how a certain level of mistake can only lead to small loss, which is loss upon value add is equal to 1 minus actual market volatility upon estimated market volatility. So the inputs of that formula for the let me see if I have it here. Okay, it's not here, but the idea for that formula is that loss divided by value add, that's actually actual market volatility upon estimated market volatility, and some squaring and playing around with them. So the small loss divided by value add is calculated by market volatility and estimated market volatility. Then we have the portfolio returns dispersion and how to control dispersion. So dispersion is how much each individual client portfolio might be from the composite return reported by the manager. One measure is the difference between the maximum return and the minimum return for separate account profiles. The basic cause of dispersion are different histories and cash flow of each client. Manager can control some form of dispersion, but unfortunately not on form. One source of dispersion beyond the manager's control is the different constraints that each one has, like not able to invest in derivatives or other class. Manager do however have the ability to control dispersion caused by different beta, since dispersion often results from lack of proper supervision. If the assets differ between portfolio, the manager can control this dispersion to try to increase the proportion of assets that are common to all portfolio. The existence of transaction cost implies that there is some optimal level of dispersion. So a higher level of risk aversion and lower transaction cost leads to lower tracking error. Without a transaction cost, there will be no tracking error or dispersion because all portfolios will be optimal. The following expression shows how dispersion is proportional to active risk, and that is made up of cumulative inverse cumulative normal distribution, number of portfolios, active risk, and we have a big formula on that which we are not delving into. So the whole idea here is to control dispersion and get an optimal level of dispersion.